What's good, folks? Listen, we get back today. We got the big boys again, but this time we talking about EA and 2K. No sport games. They're just straight hands. We ain't talking about no 2K25. We ain't talking about no Madden 25. We just talking about the games that they released. This story games, in a way. Story games, fighter games, shooters. You gonna know what I'm talking about. So I gotta tell you how this gonna go. Now, I ain't finna cover every single game they done released, cause they done released a good bit. I'm going over what I think is the top 5 games for each company, EA and 2K. And the way that I'm gonna compare them side by side to each other is their release date. Cause for real, when they released, that's their biggest competition. They going head to head, they butting heads. So first up, we got Mafia 2. It was released in 2010, and it's gonna go head to head with Mass Effect 2. EA, and it was also released 2010. Now listen, it's going about the mafia, about like post World War II era, and it's kind of like a movie when you playing through it. You get to deep dive into the nitty gritty and the atmosphere, and on the other hand, you got Mass Effects. It's like a sci-fi RPG game, and narrative-wise, it got complex characters. Both games got a good storytelling, in very different settings though. Like, it's completely different styles, but they both got good storytelling. This like we comparing a 1999 Mustang to a 2024 Corvette or something. Like, it's a tough choice, even though they both came out in the same time. One based in the future with the sci-fi, one based in the past with the post World War II. And I gotta go with the past, man. Listen, Mass Effect, shout out to you, but I can't. Mafia 2, man. Mafia 2 won that battle. Next battle, we not done. Listen, they could still come back. You never know. But we looking at XCOM 2, released in 2K, versus Mirror Edge from EA. Now listen, XCOM 2 released in 2016, and Mirror's Edge was also released in 2016. So basically, if you don't know what XCOM 2 is, it's like a deep dive into a tactical strategy game. So in a way, it's like chess. Listen, you really gotta think your way through it. It's like, will I step here? Will I go there? Will I hide here? How do I not get caught? So for me, you really gotta be locked in to really play that game. XCOM 2, it's a good game, but I feel like you really gotta be locked into that type of game for it. And on the opposite side, we got Mirror's Edge. This completely different. We talking about fast-paced parkour, first person. Now this game get you mad. You start falling off that building. You start busting your it tests your reflex now. It really tests your reflex. You gotta get ready for that game. So both games, you kind of gotta be a specialist. One game, you gotta use your brain. You gotta think. You gotta really get down and dirty with it. The other game, you gotta be quick with it. You gotta be quick with them hands. That eye hand movement coordination. So this one tough, but story wise, I really like Mirror's Edge. Even though it's just a bunch of parkour, I gotta give it to Mirror's Edge though. That game is fun. That parkour is fun. And so now we tied 1-1. But of course, we got some more. Don't worry about it. We got some more. This time we comparing BioShock. And BioShock actually came out in 2007. When I seen that BioShock really came out in 2007, I was like, ain't no way. Listen, I was thinking BioShock was dang near new. I ain't know they made the little stuff up. But it's a direct competitor, The Sims 3, 2009. So yeah, The Sims 3 do got 2 years on it. But breaking them down, BioShock, it's a first-person shooter. And instead of the city that was flying in the air, this city is actually underwater. So I'm just thinking about that series. We go from being underwater in BioShock to being up to flying in the clouds. So BioShock, it got a good story, and its direct competitor, Sims 3, is completely different. The Sims 3, it doesn't have a story, but it's like it's a life simulator. It's basically like a life simulator. But when I tell you, I can't believe I forgot about The Sims 3. Listen, I made a list talking about the top 5 games of all time. I might really have to just boom that video, bruh. Just boom it. Get them up out of there. Just give it the boot. Because The Sims 3, bro, when I first played that, it was him. It was it. Like, I can't explain it because it doesn't have a story. But you'll get so caught up in making your own story in a way. Like, I'm telling you, it really might be peak EA, like top of the class EA. So, with that being said, you already know EA won this, but it ain't over with. Nah, we going till the wheels fall off. So, moving on, we got Borderlands 2. It came out 2012 versus Dragon Age Inquest that came out 2014. Now, I know a lot of y'all know about these games. Borderlands 2 is basically a shooter-looter, but they made it so fun with all these unique characters and unique abilities. And for the time, it was revolutionary, man. I'm not gonna lie, it was revolutionary. It got a unique art style, too. It didn't try to look too real. It didn't try to look too cartoonish. And I love it. Now, listen, Borderlands 2, if you didn't play it on a split screen with your friends, with whoever came over at your house then, you were missing out. Because Borderlands 2, playing with a friend side by side on the split screen, that's the only way to play it. You don't play Borderlands 2 solo. You missing out if you doing that. You got to get you some friends. You got to go out and touch some grass, and then you go do that. But that's not a takeaway from Dragon Age Inquest. Now listen, it's a fantasy RPG game. It got a lot of deep lore, some complex characters, and it's a little bit of a strategic game. I ain't gonna lie, it's a little bit strategic. You gotta really think about it. But comparing these games is insane, because one seems more graceful, the other one just a straight up looter shooter. But let me tell you, man, I made so many memories on Borderlands 2 that it gonna have to go to Borderlands 2. So right now, we tied up. Bro, when I tell you, I promise when I make these videos, I don't try to make them tied up. I give my honest opinion. I don't try to give nobody no extra credit. Now listen, for this last part, I couldn't go year for year on this one. We got The Darkness 2 from 2012, because that's one of the best games. Like, that's one of the best games that 2K dropped. And when I played it, I didn't even realize that 2K dropped it. And it'll be taking on Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. That's all the way in 2019. Now listen, this is going to be a battle right here. Because The Darkness, it's like a dark, gritty, like you don't know it unless you play it, bro. It's like you a demon with the snakes and everything. You got some supernatural powers, and the combat pretty good. It's a bit of a scary game. I'm not gonna lie, it is scary. It's a scary game, bro. And for 2012, hey, maybe it won't hold up with them graphics now, cause maybe I was just be seeing pixels. But back then, that was scary to me. I ain't gonna lie, I might have been a little jit, but that game was scary but fun at the same time, and it really makes you want to go through it. But on the other hand, we got Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. You know, the lightsaber throwing with the adventures, and basically the Star Wars universe in a whole. It got the combat, it got some unique experience, and to be honest, it's completely opposite of, like, these games completely opposite of each other. One is for the people who like horror games, like a little darkness in there, and the other one is for Star Wars fans who also like shooters. So listen, this might be a little biased because I remember that too. I remember the Darkness 2 so well. I might have to give it to 2K, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, I might have to give it to 2K though. But as you can see, the head-to-head battle is very close. To be honest, these companies, they neck and neck. But 2K has won this battle. Because the Darkness 2 in 2012, I say it's over the Star Wars Battlefront. But if you like the video, like, subscribe. But tell me, like, for real, like, tell me what game you think should have won over the other.